There's no surprise that a great mind like Jordan Peterson figured out and wrote in his book 12 Rules for Life that one of the rules for life is cleaning your room and having a clean, pristine environment around you. The practice of cleaning your room as a spiritual practice, and linking that idea with the idea of my mind is inseparable from my environment, and the external world is a reflection of my internal world. Well, what's a better indicator of the state of that internal world other than that room that you live in, that you occupy, that you spend most of your time in? And so you can see, wow, the room's not clean today. Wow, things are piling up and I have all these clothes I need to wash, and you can start to see, wow, there's some chaos going on. By cleaning that, by creating some order there, I noticed it created some order in my mind as well. In fact, it's linked, it's inseparable. There is an aspect of mind internally and physical reality of the room. It's kind of trippy to contemplate, and you may have noticed it yourself with your room, is the link. And I think it's no surprise that the great mind Jordan Peterson figured that out and saw it, although he didn't really talk about it in the more spiritual sense. He did say that don't go out into the world criticizing the world if you can't even look in at your internal world, for example, your room. If you can't clean your room first, how are you going to clean the world? I think that's really a freaking awesome idea. So this linkage between the internal and external world, well, we often think that our mind and then what we have here in this physical reality is sort of different. In fact, we might be so occupied in our minds that we don't see that the mind or even the external is just something that arises here and now in consciousness. So what we're looking at is something that arises just as our minds, our thinking, our feeling, our sensory, visual, daydreaming is also something that's arising in this visual sphere of consciousness. But we're also seeing it all out, and so everything is arising here and now in consciousness. This link, or what is internal, what is external, well, that's just a concept we've created. That's just a thing where we're saying, okay, here's physical reality, here's mental reality. And while we can recognize there's some difference, I think seeing that they are linked is beneficial in the sense that now you can make changes in the internal and then start to see them reflected in the external, and as well as that, make changes in the external and start to see changes in the internal. In other words, seeing or spotting a feedback loop between what you have out there and the things you want to do and the things you want to accomplish and the goals and the things that you resist in life or enjoy in life, as well as that seeing the link and how it links back to how you are in the mental capacity, in the thinking capacity, in the feeling capacity. And so to start by recognizing that within the room, the place you spend maybe most of your time, is a great first step to realize, well, there's a link between what I have in my mind and what I have in this room. I think it's really a cool way to start to link that together. I think a trap people may get into in this meditative spiritual community is they, for example, have something they want to work on or resolve internally, and they may spend a lot of time working on that pattern, doing shadow work, things like that, but never testing the outcome in a external event. In other words, not doing the integration work. I think a middle way, and something I've realized, is often you can be avoidant, or try to bypass it by thinking, oh, I can just do all the internal work I need to do and never have to face the outcome or consequences by going out there and potentially facing my fears. I think this is very apparent when you see that many spiritual practitioners are not really living life. They may be avoiding certain things due to their traumas and patterns and not really facing their fears. In other words, whilst they are doing all this internal work, they haven't really integrated it into the external. In other words, haven't gone out there and faced their fears externally and really been in situations that make them very uncomfortable, make them confronting the self externally, right? Through really integrating it. And so I have been, and I'm still in that category to a big degree. But now there's this greater recognition of, wow, that internal world, that external world are linked. There's a link between them, and really embodying true change is merging these back together and being able to go out into the world and not just conquering the mind, in your room by meditating, but conquering your mind outside your room by being in situations that really make you uncomfortable, like presenting in front of an audience, approaching a cute girl, or doing a backflip. So being in situations that scare you or make you confront that self externally, make you, those circumstances where you are really resisting, well, those are great circumstances to really gain spiritual development. But we often don't want to gain spiritual development in this external world because it feels safer to just, sit in our room and meditate. But I think if you really want to get benefit from a lot of these practices, then you don't want to just be a meditator that's been meditating for 20 years and doesn't maybe is really good at focusing on their breath, but maybe doesn't have that much to show for it. I think maybe one of the reasons why is because a lot of what they've learned hasn't been integrated in this world. So my takeaway here is integrate and learn the linkage between this internal and external world. Go out there and practice that meditation, practice that awareness, and dissolve those resistances and integrate into that external world. And a great way to do that, or start doing that, is right here in your room, by cleaning your room and realizing, wow, what I have in my room is a reflection of my internal world. And I can change that. I can clean it. And by cleaning it little by little, by going through this process, picking up something, putting it in the bin, folding something, moving it over, I think you'll find that your mind starts to clear up at the same time. The act of rearranging in silence helps to rearrange the contents in your mind. It starts to ground you. It starts to clear things up. So try that, guys. Let me know what you think. Peace.